Today's youth need teachers, volunteers, and most of all, well, they need you. I'm Doug Edwards, and I'm going to be talking with real youth mentors and students to give you the knowledge you need to be the best youth worker possible. This is Youth Worker on Fire.
So the journey to Israel was not a fast one. It wasn't an easy one. It wasn't one that we just said, okay, let's just do this thing. Everything's going to work out. And wasn't that at all. In fact, it was one man's vision. His name was Dr. Micah Evans, and he has been the pastor to Israel for more than 40 years. That's right. More than 40 years, the pastor to Israel. Appointed by God, not appointed by man, not appointed by any particular organization. But Israel and its government recognizes him for that very thing. So it was his vision to bring 1,000 pastors and educators and media influencers and youth pastors there to change the way people saw the nation of Israel because of all the bad publicity that they're getting. In fact, their prime minister says that the eighth front that is trying to destroy Israel is the informational front, which is happening. The disinformation that is trying to tell people that Israel's something that they're not. The Jewish people are something that they're not. And when I would talk to the Jewish people while I'm there, I would say to them, and I talk to Arabs and Bedouins and different people too, because we were there not only on a spiritual ticket, but we were there on a government ticket too, because of a God-ordained event that one man envisioned years ago, and this was the time, this was the place. But I didn't find out about it until March of 2025. There were 497 people that had signed up by that time. Then we started getting emails. Well, you know, the trip is postponed. It's supposed to be in August. And now the trip's supposed to be in September. And, you know, there's still some war going on, and we're just not sure exactly when it's going to be, but it's going to happen. And, you know, people are getting kind of antsy and not really sure that it should happen. But here's what I know, and this is what I'll tell you. When people who get things done and that God uses in mighty ways say, this is something we need to do, that's something you need to do. And Dr. Jay Strack is one of those guys. When Jay says something's going to happen, what I've seen in his track record is it's going to happen. And so I just kind of hung tight. There were times I was uneasy, times I didn't know if I wanted to go, times that my wife is going, I don't think it's really going to happen, you know, and, you know, there's a lot of dangerous stuff going on there. So here's what that first day when we finally we find out, okay, we're going in December. Okay, it's a sure thing. We got the plane flights before. We could not secure the flights because the president of the United States had not yet secured, you know, the whole thing that was happening with the Gaza Strip and straightened all that out. And the war, finally, at least there was a peace. And so we got our assignment. And here we go. We're going to go on December 1st. We're going to be there through the 8th. And so I get this itinerary, and here it is. We're going to depart for the United States Tuesday. We're going to meet December 2nd. We're going to arrive in Israel, Jerusalem. We're going to land at Ben Gurion, I think that's how you pronounce it, Airport, Tel Aviv. Transfer to hotel in Jerusalem, orientation meeting to receive mission objectives and program highlights. You kind of get a feeling that this isn't just your average go-see tour of Israel. Well, you'd be right. Day 3, Wednesday, December 3rd, Jerusalem, history and diplomacy. Special visit and short commemorative event. Briefing on the current situation in Israel. Official opening ceremony, and that ceremony was amazing. Ambassador Mike Huckabee was there. We got videos from different officials, Prime Minister, and I believe if I remember, the President of Israel and some other officials were there that spoke that day, and they had a panel discussion that night. We were well briefed, and we went through a lot of stuff. Plus, there was all kinds of stuff that we were reading before we got to this place, okay? Before we even got on the plane for months ahead. that we got to read and were asked to read and take care of, and videos to watch and listen to different things like that. Thursday, December 4th, Southern Israel, Resilience and Leadership, special event, meet survivors and hear stories of heroism from October 7th. And boy, did we hear them. And I videoed many of them. I didn't have my tripod, so if you see some of them that are on Facebook and some of that I didn't have, my monopod, my tripod at that point. And so I still wanted them on there because the messages were so good, so clear. I only put 2 on so far. Military debrief with IDF, meaning the Israeli Defense Force representatives and regional leaders, early evening event. And that early evening event was amazing because it was on the steps of the temple of Herod, at the outer walls of the temple of Herod, or the steps where Jesus' name reminded us. Jesus walked on these steps. His disciples walked on these steps. There were other prophets that walked on these steps, and you're sitting here because the government wants you here. We as ministries want you here, and this has been in the works for a while. And we're here at night, and it's absolutely beautiful. And Al Denson had his band in from Texas to the left of the crowd looking at the stage. There was a full moon out. I mean, we're talking, this is just like unreal situation. And everything we've seen to this point is not even real. We're not even comprehending it. The testimonies we're hearing are not completely emotional to us. It wasn't until I got back and started listening to some of them and started posting the couple that I did when the emotions hit, because we are on mission here, and we are getting to see, we are getting to touch, we're getting to feel, we're getting a great treatment. Because let me tell you what's happening. Every Jewish, Arab, Bedouin, every person that's in Israel is saying to us, thank you for being here. We know why you're here. We are so grateful for your being here. Why? Because everybody else in the world, it seems like, wants to kill them. We know that it's a small portion that are putting out all kinds of information on the internet. You know, it doesn't take many. It just takes you having all the saturation out there to make things happen that are negative or positive, which is why they brought 1,000 of us in, going, if we can get these pastors, youth pastors, media, Christian media influencers, and educators to educate the next generations and get it on the air, then we can see people defending Israel, defending the United States, and not trying to destroy them. Here we are doing this, and we're worshiping, and the crowd of 1,000 pastors and influencers and youth pastors. Can you imagine that sound and them singing? It's not like your regular congregation. These are guys that are committed to a cause and to a mission, and have been for the rest of their life, and most of them will be for the rest of their life. So that's the type of people that are there. Not only that, they're people that are willing to go to a war zone not long after the peace starts. That is not an average group of people. I want you to understand that. So the next day, Friday, December 5th, Friends of Zion, we go there, Jerusalem Summit, addresses by key leaders, members of other groups, and senior Israeli generals. Later afternoon, communion service, which was, by the way, was at the empty tomb of Jesus, right on a hill, looking down right at the empty tomb, feet away from it. The worship that's happening, that we've had worship on Shiloh. We've had worship in one of the main auditoriums the first day, and then the worship there at the, what I call the Killing Fields, but at the Nova Festival Memorial now, which used to be the Nova Festival. And all these things are happening. And so you can imagine the swirl of events and the saturation of all these things and the senses that our bodies and minds are going through, and why it's not till we get back that we can even understand and comprehend half of what is happening. But earlier in that day, we get a tour of different places, and one was Golgotha, and then we go not far from there, walk down to where the empty tomb is. We've already been to the Mount of Olives, and we're going to be, or have been to the Gethsemane, the Garden of Gethsemane already. or it will be the next day. I can't remember exactly what the timetable was, but that day we were at Golgotha, and you're going to love this. Our particular tour guide for Golgotha, because we had guides at Shiloh. We had our main tour guide that was on the bus with us and was everywhere that we went, and his name is Eli. He is one of the interviews that I'll have. Our tour guide for Golgotha and the Garden of Gethsemane is from the UK. He's a retired engineer who grew up there, and he wanted to spend his retirement years as one of the tour guides in Israel for Golgotha and Gethsemane. Now, I want you to understand this part. How interesting is this? He's blind. He's been blind, from my understanding, since birth. Had to go through school that way to become an engineer, became an engineer, made a lifetime of it. And now we have a blind, retired engineer tour guide guiding us through Golgotha and the empty tomb. It was amazing. The guy showed us things that we don't even know how he could point to, but he did, and got us through that. So I thought that would be interesting to you. And so Saturday, December 6th, Jerusalem, the Eternal City, visit the Friends of Zion Museum, which is an amazing thing too. If you go to Israel, this is a Christian ministry. You need to go to that museum. It will tell you a lot of things that you did not know. Follow the Via Dolorosa, visit the Stations of the Cross. We did all of that. Explore the Arab market, the Jewish quarter, and the Western Wall. Visit the historic Cardo and finish in the bustling Jewish market. Did all of that. Well, one of the guys on a pedometer, one of the days, not sure which one, said that his pedometer said that he had walked 13 miles. I know there's many days we've had to walk anywhere from 5, 7, 8, 10 miles. And possibly 13, as he said there. We were up mountains and down mountains, up hills and down hills. And the road up to Jerusalem when we were going to the Stations of the Cross was very steep, and he wanted us to walk it to show us certain things about entering the city itself. Ellie did our tour guide. Sunday, December 7th, worship and celebration in Jerusalem. Praise and worship, special panels, graduation ceremony with the Prime Minister of Israel. And the list goes on and on, and many panels that evening. And that evening, before we left that Jerusalem Theater auditorium, I was able to sit with Eli to get his interview. And so there are 5 interviews that are going to be coming up of Jewish people. There was going to be Arab people and a Bedouin as well, but we were in such a quick-paced environment that it was very difficult to get any interviews whatsoever. The ones that I got that you see posted, those aren't interviews. Those are just, I was in the event and was able to record them. But the ones that you'll get from me on the podcast after this will be interviews that I sat down with the people. There were no quiet places to do this. We had to interview on the run and in non-quiet environments. So hopefully you'll be able to understand that and be able to hear what you need to hear. Let God speak to you and possibly use them, whether it's in student ministry or with your families or your other ministries. After this series is over, I'm hoping to have already interviewed many of the guys from the United States and ladies that were on the trip, because their stories are almost just as phenomenal as the stories of the people of Israel that we interviewed. I am no hero. And this is what I told God before I left. I said, God, I'm no hero. I don't care to be a martyr. I know that's honorable. And I don't care to be a hostage or anything like that, even if I get home later. I want to get here, learn what I need to learn, and get home to my grandbabies and my children and my wife. Protect us. And he did. It was an amazing, beyond amazing trip. The information is still information overload. I hope this helps you some. Get prepared for these interviews. We'll see you next time on Youth Worker on Fire.
You've been listening to the Youth Worker on Fire podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and tell your friends. Also, leave a comment and tell us what you think. Stay tuned for more informative episodes.